Hey folks, this video is all about you know MCP servers. So I've built a couple of MCP servers for within this repo that I'm going to use for this hackathon. Okay, this hackathon is about agent harness, and but so the agent that I'm going to build is going to utilize a few MCP servers. I have already built two of them, and I'm going to showcase that in here. Okay. So these are the scripts for this MCP servers are here. So one is this divvy-reader, another is this market data fetcher. Divvy-reader makes use of this GitHub authentication. I'll explain you why. And market data fetcher makes use of this screener client and yfinance client. Okay. Um, so I have so as a part of this hackathon, I'm making few small demo videos. Okay, I'll make a overall video at the end, but this is a few small videos. One of them is this TrueForge and Daytona client, which I have already published. uh, so where I showcased how do you how can you create a minimal agent and then deploy it to TrueForge, right? uh, which is a local agent harness, and so it converts your LLM into agent, right? um, so yeah, so that video was all about that, and Daytona is a sandbox where your agent code can run. Okay, so the TrueForge and Daytona setup was covered in this video. And so when I have not created the agent that I created there was a minimal agent just to showcase how it works. The agent that is required for this hackathon, I have not created that, but as a precursor I created a couple of MCP servers which will be used. Okay. um, so yeah, so this is the TrueForge client that I already covered in the last video. So here I'm going to demonstrate this DV reader and market data fetcher MCP server or MCP tool. Okay, so I'm going to head over to the terminal. So yeah, so let me first give you a, so what is this DV reader all about, right? So DV reader is so I have another repo called stock screeners. Okay, it has a tool called DV, which basically helps you uh, you know suggest you to buy or hold based on your dividend tracker. Okay, so so what I do is I mean, so this is this is not fully functional, but it's on working, but it still works a bit. So I maintain a some stocks here. Obviously I don't commit them into the repo. This is just for sake of maintaining it, right? So that any people who visit this repo can understand. But yeah, so this is where one needs to store their stocks, dividend stocks that they want to track. And so to this CLI tool, if you pass a budget, it will tell you like whether to keep uh, buy or hold, right? The recommendation. And so yeah, so but 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 this DV reader, right, it only reads this particular file via GitHub, directly via GitHub authentication, and reads that file. Okay, and lists what are the stocks listed in that watch list. That's it, simple. And this market feature, what whenever you pass any ticker name, right, like this infi or TCS, it's going to make a call to screener.in and fetch the market information. And if screener.in is not working, then it will fall back to yfinance. Okay, so that those are the MCP tools that I have created. So I'll go head over to the terminal. So I have a demo script already ready. So if I run this demo make command, protocol make command, and pass on the server name DV reader, so it's going to execute a few things. So if I run this, I'll showcase what it exactly does. So it first initializes. That's the first step of the MCP handshake. Like we have clients of a handshake in REST, so it does a JSON-RPC handshake in MCP server client, right? Setup. So the client sends a initialize method, server replies with its details, right? And then client makes a notification initialized um, again sends it to the server, okay, and it expects no response. That's it. So after that you have to, so the client has to make uh, calls on its own, like for example tool lists, it makes it, right? So it's provided you what tools I have, right, uh, for this server, and it makes a call to list all the tools, and then it also makes invokes that tool, right? So this is what the script is doing all about now. And then when it invokes, it gives you the response, like see, it read the file and gave you the inv tcs, right, all the response. Then if you can do this, right, if you do market, I think, data structure, if I do it correctly, no, I think, I don't know, but the default one is market data fetcher, so I'm just going to run it without providing a server name. So yeah, it does a similar thing, um, right? So what it does, let me show you. So I ran the script here, right? So it sent a initialize, the server replied market data fetcher, right? And then yes, then is notification initialized, then tool list call, which the client makes it explicitly in the script, and then it invokes the tool for the ticker infi, and it gets back the response. That's it, right? And so if I show you the code, so code is here, like sorry, this is the code. So if you look at here, so this is where we call explicitly the initialize phase, and all the notification the client calls it. So when it sends initialize, it gets back the response from the server, and then it sends initialize list. Then it makes explicit call for tool list and tools call. Okay, that's the script all about. And now we can also see the same happening in a MCP inspector. So if I run MCP, sorry, MCP dev, not market, but I'll do a DV first, then DV. So it will open up a browser, a session in browser. You see here, right? So when you connect it, you'll see that it makes those calls that we talked about. So it makes a initialize call, then it makes a notification initialized call, tool list, prompt list, resources. We only made tool list explicitly in the script, but it also makes these additional calls and lists them here. So if you go to tools, you can see all the things here, right? So if you do a read worth list and execute tool, that's a tool call gets registered here, and it lists infi and tcs, right? So yeah, then I'll close this and I'll do a market fetcher thing. I'll run this inspector. Then I'll connect, it does the same thing, initialize, notification initialize, tool list, right? And if I go to the tools and then I select and pass infi, execute it, it gives you, it makes a call to screener.in, right? That's the source, and gets you all the relevant data, right? So yeah, cool. So this is the demo all about. So I'm going to create an agent later that utilizes all these MCP tools and other stuff, and we'll see what that agent is capable of. Okay. Yeah. So that's all for this video. Thanks.